Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Friday night with Miss Ginny. So sorry about me being late today. My day just had some unexpected things that came up, so I had to push the show back an hour. So hopefully that's all right for you guys. Sorry about you guys up in the north that are watching me now at 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. I find that my weekends are just so busy. Like everyone else, like during the week is their chaotic time, and then the weekends where they can kind of relax. For me, is the exact opposite. Like throughout the week, it's kind of slow. It's pretty even keeled, and then the weekend, just everything goes off the rails. I'm just so busy, especially Sundays. Sundays are always my busiest day of the week. But anyways, that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about, does God still save hoes? And if you're wondering, like, isn't that kind of, flippant, to be using God's name in a term like that? I wouldn't say so, because to say that someone is a hoe is not far different from calling them a harlot, which is a biblical term. Hi here for the tea. Thanks for coming. And thank you, 777, for showing me some early support. I appreciate that. And so, yeah, we have a couple videos to watch. Hopefully they work. I've tried to do it, I think it was last week when I was talking to Ray, and they did not work, but hopefully they will this time. And so, because I kind of want to frame some things for you, get some ideas going in your head. And then I'm also going to try to drop the link so I can do a panel tonight. Ooh, I've never done a panel before, so hopefully that goes well. But let's jump right into these videos. The first one that I want to share is one from a site. Well, it's from a company who has a YouTube page called Fight the New Drug, which is a site that is all about fighting against pornography addiction, helping people stop watching it and stop making it, things like that. And I used to be into them a long time ago. I bought some buttons from them. I collect buttons. And I had them in my book bag. And it was like, fight the new drug and porn kills love and things like that. Because pornography is not just a problem for men, but it's also a problem for women. And it's kind of like this silent epidemic that's going on, that so many people are watching it and engulfed in it. And I guess like people don't talk about it because it's kind of, it's shameful. You don't want to talk about something like that, but we need to talk about it. It's important. Hi, DMville. Good to have you. And so yeah, so I've been knowing about this company for a while, and so they made this video that I think is really good. So I'm gonna show that to you guys. I think it's about 5 minutes long. And let's see here.
Santa Monica, and from right away, I called my manager to tell them I was uncomfortable.
Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear that correctly. It's coming in clear.
And instead of the supportive producer and the supportive manager that I had experienced when I was signing my contract, I got told that I was being difficult, and that if I was going to continue to make money in this industry, that I was going to have to learn how to behave. I had zero say so. Oftentimes I didn't even know that I was going to a shoot. One night that I was picked up, and I refused to go. And his reaction to that was to take my phone, to take my shoes, and drop me off in this area of Southern California that was just agricultural. And so there I was in the middle of the night with like workout shorts and a sports bra, no shoes, no phone, no money, no purse, just really left by myself.
The first time I did a film, it was pretty scary. Like, again, like I thought that I was just gonna like be handed a camera and like go like have sex with this girl. And I walk into this giant studio, and there's camera A, camera B, camera C, and there's someone shooting BTS, and there's a sound guy, and there's all this stuff going on, and it's just all these lights are around this like little bed, and there's this girl sitting on it, and they're like, hey, we'll need you in 15 minutes. Here's a Viagra if you need it. I went to the bathroom. They told me to take half the Viagra. I took the whole thing. And I started to feel like really red and flushed. And then I remember like walking out onto the set, And I don't really remember what happened after that. I just remember like.
Did y'all hear that? I'm gonna play it back one more time just in case what I said was over top of it. But basically, what he says is that he goes to the site, the shooting site, and they he thinks it's gonna be a little setup, but instead it's this big setup, and they tell him like, oh, this is where you're gonna be shooting, and here's a Viagra if you need one, and they tell him to take half. He takes a whole, and he's talking about he blacked out. Like, I don't know anything about Viagra, but I don't think it's supposed to do that. So I think they might have just gave you a Percocet, my boy.
Viagra, I took the whole thing.
Let's go back.
We'll need you in 15 minutes. Here's a Viagra if you need it. I went to the bathroom. They told me to take half the Viagra. I took the whole thing. And I started to feel like really red and flushed. And then I remember like walking out onto the set, and I don't really remember what happened after that. I just remember like saying cut, and it was over. Probably 4 years into my time in the business, I was just like, I hate this. I hate this so much. And every day it just got worse and worse. And I was ashamed of who I was. I left porn because I was suicidal.
There was a lot of drugs, and I found myself addicted to cocaine, alcohol. See, for me, I had to go to work to do the porn so that I could buy the drugs to bury the pain of doing the porn. So I'd go to work and do the porn so that I could buy the drugs to bury the pain.
So sad.
And around it went.
Towards the end of my time in porn was one of my most viewed scenes. I actually came in as more of a stand-in because they had an original guy doing my part for that scene, but that scene was so rough that it incited an epileptic seizure within him that he had to be rushed to the hospital. So
are you hearing this? I was blown away when I heard that. I'm sorry, what? What are you doing to these people? Like, are you strapping them down to an Iron Maiden? What do you mean you had an epileptic seizure while you were shooting porn? I mean, it just blows my mind. What people are interested in, what kind of things that these porn producers are willing to do to these people, and because you can't really blame either party fully. It's a mutual destruction. It's a symbiotic relationship of destruction. So it's like the producers don't make it if the people don't want to watch it, and the people are interested in watching it because they know it's available. It's sick, but that's not even the craziest part.
I came in to take his spot, and at first I didn't know what I was getting into, but I signed the consent forms. I signed all the stuff saying it was okay because I needed to get paid. And then on the porn set, I was bound, gagged, and raped. I was in a rape scene. And after that scene, I went home and I tried to kill myself. Everyone who watches that scene, they don't know.
Hold on.
They don't know.
Like, what? And now I did not know this. This is something that's new to me. I didn't realize that. Because I'd heard that there'll be porn of child molestation, or there'll be porn of women getting molested, but I never heard of a man getting molested in porn. Is that a thing? And then it's making me wonder who's doing that? Is that man on man, or is it I don't know. It's just so depraved is the word that just comes to mind. Is what kind of civilized society allows this trash to just free flow? Completely no holds bar, no type of legitimate safeguards in place to prevent, innocent and wandering eyes from watching this absolute trash. And he said that this scene was one of his most popular scenes. It's just unbelievable.
Know the backstory behind it. They don't know that I did that afterwards. They don't know what was really happening to me on the inside. and they don't even know what, brought me there in the first place. And so that's why, people watch porn and they just assume, that we're there in front of the camera because we want to be there, or we're having fun or whatever. And maybe it's also because we're telling them that, but they don't know the truth of what's really going on, why we're there, and what's going on inside of us.
Right. I mean, people think it's just all fun and games. You watching something, oh, it's not real. Oh, I don't know these people. And you think that nothing's happening or that it doesn't matter. And it's like, yeah, it does. These are real people that you're watching. The scenarios itself might not be real. They're acting to an extent. Hardly you can even call it acting because they're literally having sex with each other. But, I guess there's like talking in between that they're acting. I don't know. So it's like, these are real people who are actually being violated and degraded and victimized by this. And of course, I'm not going to say like I said before, it's mutual. These people, they're adults, they consent, they kind of have an idea of what they're getting into. At the end of the day, you can't say, well, I had no idea I was ever going to be a victim of X, Y, and Z. You signed up to have sex for money. So kind of anything that comes along after that, you should know, like, it's a Wild West out there. So there's that. And I wanted to play that when it comes to, can God redeem people? Because when a lot of people think about like, oh, God doesn't save hoes, or, people, like I've heard Muslims, kind of make snide remarks about Christianity, about saying, oh, like Christianity is where all the whores go, or Christianity is where all the bums and the prostitutes go, because you can just say that you're going to do X, Y, and Z, or you can do X, Y, and Z on a Saturday and then go to church and be forgiven from all your sins on Sunday. And it's like, how prideful, how boastful. Ephesians 2:8-9 says that for the gift of God is eternal life, not of works, lest any man should boast. That is the blessing of Christianity, is that, yeah, you can do X, Y, and Z on a Saturday and go to church on Sunday and be forgiven. You think, the Muslims or the whoever who think that they're so high and mighty, that they're better than these people. Oh, well, I know I'm going to heaven because I haven't done porn. Oh, I know that I'm going to heaven because I haven't had an OnlyFans, and I'm better than you, and I look down at you. It's like, at the foot of the cross, we are all the same. And let it be far from a Christian to look down on someone who's new in Christ, or someone who's trying to get right with God, and they have a sordid past, because no one is going to heaven based off of their own good works. No one is going to heaven based off of their merit and the things that they've done. So yeah, sure, open the doors to all the ex-porn stars and all the ex-OnlyFans and call girls and escorts and hookers. Let them all come in. We as a Christian, we should want those kind of people to come in, because that, oh, you're too bad of a sinner. Oh, God, he can't redeem you. Nonsense. And I do believe that there are reprobates. There are people who are too far gone. But the Bible, there are at least 3 that immediately come to mind are, whores in the Bible. They got saved and they were redeemed. And so I just think that it's so sad and embarrassing that these people, they want to look down on Christians when the thing that they're looking down on is the best part about Christianity. The best thing is that, yeah, I fall short. I'm imperfect. I make mistakes, but I serve the perfect Savior. I serve a perfect God who forgives me and redeems me and cleanses me from all my unrighteousness. And so, yes, T, God can save anyone who wants to be saved. That's the beauty of it. And you don't have to clean up your life beforehand. You don't have to stop doing all your sin beforehand. You don't have to, like some people, they have order a maid to come in, and they feel embarrassed that their house is so dirty, so they clean up before the maid gets there. You don't have to do that when it comes to Jesus. He'll take you as you are, and he, wants to improve you on the meantime. But don't let, your past or what you did or what you sent to somebody hold you back from getting saved, because that's the beauty of Christ. That's the beauty of Christianity. And so you hear stuff like that about things that people did, and it makes you gasp, like, yikes, what in the world? But hey, God can save them too. God can still redeem them. And some of them, they were wearing like cross necklaces in that video. I don't know what their faith is. I don't know what they claim to be. They could be Catholic, they could be anything. Just because they call themselves a Christian doesn't mean they really are. But that being said, God can still help someone move them in the right direction, in the fact that they will later on get saved. And that definitely happens. So there's that video. And then I have one more video I want to show you guys before I possibly let a panel up. This one's about Black China, who she, about 6 months ago, around like Easter time, she did this whole big conversion, really public, like reformation of her life. Like, she took down her OnlyFans. I think that was the first thing that she did. Or maybe getting baptized was the first thing that she did. I don't remember what she says for the first thing. But she shuts down her OnlyFans, which is making her like $2 million, gets baptized, and she starts talking about her testimony. Now, I don't think that she's legitimately saved, and I'll explain why after you watch the video. But needless to say, she had a change of heart, which is a good thing, regardless. And hopefully she will get saved legitimately. But turning over a new leaf is a good thing, in and of itself. So let's pull this up. This is a pretty good video.
Tell you a story of transformation and redemption. If you look back at the last few years, model Black China was starring in tabloids, on OnlyFans, and stuck in some major public feuds. But now she's deactivated her OnlyFans account. She got baptized, and she's even started going by her birth name, Angela Renee White. This week, she announced her latest achievement, getting her doctorate from a Bible college. Joining me now is Angela White. Angela, thank you so much for being here. Happy Easter, or Holy Week, anyway. What was the deciding factor for you to make this change? I mean, you were making great money, you achieved fame. Why did you give that life up?
I had to. Honestly, the life that I was living, it was fast paced, money coming in, money going out, and I just honestly kept running into like all these problems and these issues and this and that and lawsuits. And I was like, you know what? Like, I need to change. Like, I have to change my life. I can't be living like this. I have 2 beautiful babies. I have businesses. And I had to really just get back to myself. I kind of lost myself, honestly.
Was there one moment that you said, I got to change this now? Was there one deciding moment?
It was, the deciding moment was on my birthday. So I got baptized on my birthday. And then from there, I just started putting in the work. People have to also realize once you get baptized, you have to be willing to also change everything about you so you can start moving into the light.
Yeah, and Angela, you talked about removing one of your tattoos on Instagram. I want to talk to you about this. Listen.
Okay. Y'all know that I had this Baphomet tattoo, right? It got to come off. You know what I mean? I'm not about to have no mark of the beast, anything like that. I just don't want anything negative or demonic on my body anymore.
Angela, when did you realize how dangerous this was spiritually? And this wasn't the only addition that you removed from your body, by the way.
The more I started reading the Bible, and it's so bizarre to me because at the time, I didn't see nothing wrong with it. And that's like the issue, we don't see things that we're doing wrong because we're actually sitting in that moment. And I just started like praying to God, and taking the proper steps, going to church, and just really just focusing like on myself and my spirit.
Yeah, well, I love that it's not only a spiritual transformation, but a physical one. I mean, you've had fillers in your face dissolved, you're removing tattoos. What's next for Angela White?
What's next for me? I'm going to continue my journey with the Bible for sure, and just work on myself, just honestly work on myself and work on my businesses and different ways of making income, because the way that I was making income wasn't right. So now I have to like really just dive deep into my studies and to my work ethic.
Well, the new Angela fits you perfectly. Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
have a blessed Easter. Thanks for being with
You
us.
too. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Sean.
Okay, and so you saw the video. It's nice, like T said, she's proud of her, and that's good. It is good that she is changing her life. You know, you can get saved, hopefully, at a later date, but you don't want to just continue to ruin your life. Like a lot of God's principles are universal. If you don't rack up 100 bodies while you're young, and you get married while you're young, and you stay faithful and you stay loyal to that one person that you're married to, and you reproduce and you discipline your children right, your life is going to be pretty good. It's going to be better than most. Just by doing those things, which are godly principles. Even if you're not a Christian, you can still benefit from those principles that God has put in place, even if you're not a Christian. So that's great. Getting rid of your tattoos, getting rid of your clown fillers and all that stuff. That's great. God bless her. But one thing that does need to be noted is that, does getting baptized save you? Does getting tired of your fast-paced life, does that save you? Does reading the Bible save you? Indirectly or directly? Does wanting to change everything about you, does that save you? No. Only belief saves you. And I just find that it's very telling that, and I watched another interview of hers. That interview was only like, 3 or 4 minutes. But I watched another one of her interviews that was like an hour with Forbes. And in that one, the same thing. She was talking about her conversion. She was talking about her testimony, talking about how she got baptized, changed her life, all this stuff. And it's like, that's great. But turning over a new leaf does not save you. And it's like, you can be a nice person, you can be a productive member of society, but you're not saved. And so that's a problem. Okay. We need to pray that Black China gets saved. Because it just sounds like, because I heard some like red pill guys, they were talking about this at the time, and a lot of them were saying that she's going through her epiphany phase. She hasn't hit the wall just yet, but she's having an epiphany where she's realizing like, I'm not going to be young and hot forever. Let me start putting some things in place that can kind of be my fallback when life hits the fan. And so that's kind of more what it sounds like. A woman who is not totally out to lunch, just a complete fool, she'll start to see the writing on the wall and say like, okay, your sexual marketplace value is starting to reach, it's reached its peak, and now you're starting on your slow decline. And so you need to start, maybe now you need to start actually finding a man and being able to cooperate with a man and figure out how you're going to maneuver the rest of your life now that you're not young and a baddie anymore. Thank you, Wendy. Like a woman, because I think she is, gosh, I wish I should have checked her age. I think she's in her early 30s. And so, yeah, and plus she's a celebrity, so she has access to like really high quality skincare and makeup and things like that. So she still looks great, of course. But yeah, I think that's probably more so what's happening. She's saying that, oh, and then she also never says, I got saved. I just realized that. She never uses the terminology, I got saved. She says, I'm turning over a new leaf. I had a change of heart. I got baptized. These are not salvation. And so, yeah, she obviously has a tender heart. She can hear, good reason. She can hear good constructive. And so, maybe she could get saved at a point. If a soul winner came to her, she would probably listen. Kat Von D got baptized. What? Oh man. Now I don't know a whole lot about Kat Von D, but I know she has a bunch of tattoos and she's in the makeup world. I know she had a beef with Jeffree Star, who is he's not trans, but he's like a cross-dressing queer freak. She had a beef with him, and I don't know, but she's not. Did she claim to be saved? Is that what happened? It's all false doctrine. Yeah, it is all false doctrine. You know, they're talking about, oh, I stopped doing all that stuff. I got my tattoos removed. I got my fillers removed. I got my injections removed. And it's like, that's great, but that doesn't save you. And so I heard on a video that I watched that was talking about women, you know, why do men avoid women with high body counts, and you know, why women don't want to be with a hoe, things like that. And he said something that I thought was really good. Like it put a really good it was a really good soundbite for it. And he said that men don't necessarily have an issue with hoes, they have an issue with hoe tendencies. And the difference between that is dramatic. And so a woman could have been fast in her, you know, younger days, in her early 20s or what have you, but, you know, knows that that's wrong, knows that it's shameful, is embarrassed by it. And when you meet her, she doesn't act anything like, it surprises you that she did that, and she's repentant of it, and that's totally behind her. And she, you know, she doesn't try to make excuses for it. She doesn't try to defend it. She's like, I don't know what I was on back then. You know, I totally reject that. That was bad. So a woman can be a hoe, you know, an ex-hoe, and feel like that. And then a man is like, you know, it's gonna be rare to find a virgin, so you know, it's okay. Versus having hoe tendencies, which is, yeah, I got 12 bodies. Oh, I got 40 bodies. And what about it? Oh, you're insecure because you don't want a woman who has 38 bodies. Oh, you just have small D energy. Oh, you're lame. You're a weak man. You can't handle a real woman. No, that is gonna drive men away like the plague. Okay, so there's two types of women. You know, both women might have 20 bodies or 30 bodies, but the one realizes that it's bad and that's shameful, and the other one is proud and brazen and expects you to do the changing and you to do the accepting, instead of her, you know, turning over a new leaf and changing her ways. I thought that was profound, because it sounds just like, you know, the stories in the Bible, who you know, like Mary Magdalene, who was a harlot, and everybody in town knew. That's why when she, you know, took the alabaster box and she washed Jesus' feet, they were like, you know, does he know who's touching him? Does he know who that is? And she, like, you know, was in the streets and got around and everybody knew, but she was repentant and she had changed. And so it, you know, it's not to say that it doesn't matter anymore. My signal going out. It's not to say that it doesn't matter anymore, but it is obviously a lot better if you're going to be with a woman who has a sordid past like that, for her to be like, yeah, that was trashy, that was beneath me, I shouldn't have done that, instead of someone who is just like, okay, I'm gonna do what I want and it doesn't matter. And so, yeah, I'm gonna drop the link so that anyone who wants to join is free to join. Oh, that's what that does. Okay. And so, yeah, if you want to come up and talk with me, then you can. And so, yeah, you know, and there are so many examples, like Mia Khalifa is a really good example about a woman who has hoe tendencies, but she claims, like, she's always trying to put on this act, like, oh yeah, I hate porn, I can't believe that I did that. And, you know, she feels so embarrassed, and she always claims that, oh, I only did like 5 scenes, or I only did like 10 scenes or whatever, and now it's haunting me for the rest of my life. And it's like, okay, but your biological name is not Mia. Your birth name is not Mia Khalifa. That's your porn name. So the fact that you're still going by that name says everything. That you're still trying to get the clout that you had from having that name and being that persona, but you want to be someone new now, and you want to, you know, take up the new mantle of, oh, I'm a changed woman. And I saw that she was doing some runway, like for Vogue or something, and it's like, okay, now you're trying to, you know, go into a different career path or whatever. I don't know if she's planning on being a model or something, But women like that, you can sniff out from a mile away, like, okay, like this conversion is not genuine, this is not legitimate. Like with Black China, she wanted to go back to her birth name. She didn't want to be Black China anymore. She didn't want to be known by that. Only reason that people, I guess, are going to continue to call her that is because that's how she got famous. And so if you just say like, oh, did you hear the Angela White video, or did you see the Angela White interview? People are going to be like, who is that? But, Black China is more famous. And so you can go by, oh, I'm formerly Black China, but I'm going by Angela White, try to get people, wean people off of it. Mia, she's just like, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to continue. I don't even know what her real name is. I don't think she's ever, publicly come out and said what it is. She did say that she wants to be called by her original name, though. Mia Khalifa did? Oh, okay. What is her real name? Because all the clips that I ever see of her, she's never saying it. I mean, I don't see like a ton, but I've seen like, at least like 10 clips of her in the last this past year. All the stuff she's talking about her divorce and from her TikTok and things like that. And so another one is Lana Rhoades. She's an ex-porn star as well. I think she was probably one of the number one porn stars on Pornhub or whatever for a while too. And now I guess I'm like grading them on a scale from like how legitimate they were. And so when it comes to Lana, the information I have about her, I don't know. The jury's still out on her as far as I'm concerned, because she basically has said like, oh, it's so gross that people got to see me like that, and see me in those compromising positions and see me doing those things, and I hate that, and it's embarrassing. So she feels that way, but I don't know. I feel like, okay, in an alternate reality where I'm an ex-porn star, I feel like what you really want to do is you want to drop your stage name, or if you were going by your real name, God forbid, then you just have to change your name and, get a new name, and then like just nuke all of your social media so no one can find you and track you and know what you're up to, and then move to a different town, maybe somewhere in the Midwest, and just live out the rest of your days out there. Like, and if you want to do some kind of interview to discourage other people from going into porn or going into whatever you were doing, then you could do that. I would do that like under, with the dark, cover and the voice changer. So it's like, an anonymous person. But because I just don't see, like, I cannot see how these women, and even some of the men too, how they think that, oh, I'm going to distance myself from my porn past and I'm going to move past that, when they're always talking about it and they're always bringing it up. And that's always going to be something that they're mentioning and a perspective that they're coming from. So it just seems convoluted in my opinion, but I guess it just depends on what people really want. Because I'm sure that there are some porn stars and ex-prostitutes who have done that method that I referenced of just completely wiping your slate clean as much as you possibly can. And I've also heard when it comes to these OnlyFans girls, because I guess what OnlyFans, what they do is that they claim that, okay, you can't screenshot it and your stuff is private to you, to the page. And so it's secure, so because people are supposed to be paying for it. And so you can't just like pay for it and then screenshot it and then send it out or whatever. But of course they do. They're on Reddit, they're on Google or whatever, and they always get out no matter who it is. And so, or, if they don't get out, then it's probably because you don't have anybody watching it, you don't have anybody paying for it. But anyone who has any type of significant following is going to get their stuff leaked. And I've heard of women like spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars paying these companies or paying these people to wipe their digital footprint and wipe their nudes off the internet. And it's like, what a fool's errand. That sounds like a business I need to get into so I can just take these people's money and run off, because it's impossible, And I guess it just frustrates me that these people don't think. Like, you think that, and they don't think that. They don't realize that stuff on the internet is forever. Like, I was watching the Whatever podcast, and of course he had some OnlyFans girls up there. And he was like, what are you going to do when you want to have kids? Or what are you going to do when you meet somebody that you really like? And if they're not okay with this, like, how are you going to react? And they're like, oh, well, by that time, then I'm going to have deleted my account and I'm going to have deleted my stuff and it's going to be gone. And I'm going to be a new person now. And it's like, would that it were so simple that you could just delete your account and delete your stuff. And it's just like, it never even happened. You know, like Serve Pro, like it never even happened. And it's like, but it did. And, you know, to say like, okay, I'm just going to wipe it away. And it's like, okay, well, why do you want to wipe it away? Why don't you want to just have someone who is proud of you that you're an ex-prostitute or an ex-porn star, you know? Are you saying that what you're doing is shameful? Is that what you're implying? Because I guess with the women who are just so brazen about their whoredom, you know, with them, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to be proud because I'm not doing anything wrong. And for them, I guess you can almost say it's you feel most sorry for them because they're just so completely blinded by society that they really don't see anything wrong with it to be a whore and to be out here just opening your feet for anybody who just happens to walk by. So it's like there's that perspective where it's like, okay, they're doing it out of ignorance because they don't really even know that it's that bad, versus the woman who knows that it's bad is like, oh yeah, you know, I'm doing this right now. I know that it's bad. I know that it's shameful, but I'm going to get it erased. I'm going to get it, you know, smoothed over. It's not going to be an issue in a few years when I'm done with it. You know, it's like, you know it's bad and you're doing it anyway. And like, it makes it even more egregious and more unforgivable. Well, seemingly unforgivable. But like I said earlier, you know, only people that can't get saved are people who don't want to get saved. And so if you want to, then you absolutely can. And, you know, more people need to be talking about that and how, you know, the blood of Jesus washes away the multitude of sins. So there's that. Who else have I been hearing about? Oh, I saw this video on TikTok about this Asian woman who was talking about, you know, oh my gosh, like I did OnlyFans and I made a lot of money, but now I'm grossed out by men and men are trash. Of course, they always have to throw in how men are the one who are trash. Not me. I was being trash. I was one who was making myself disposable, and how I just let anyone witness me and see me in that way. No, but it's always the men. The men are the ones who are trash. They're always trash after the women are done being that way. After they're done doing that stuff, they're not trash when they're handing over their hard-earned money, you know, for your OnlyFans or sending you money or sending you cash apps and Venmo. They're not trash then. They're only trash when the money stops or when you want to do something different with your time. Right. But anyways, she was saying how, you know, she was so annoyed with men, how she was tired of men, how she wanted to just do something different, and saying how she would even go to their pages and look at them and see that they had families and children and wives or girlfriends or things like that. And she was just so disgusted. And she was one of those ones that seemed like she was annoyed with the process. Like she was more grossed out with how things were going. Not that she was repentant. Like, and that's another thing is that you'll see like a lot of these women who they'll say like, oh, you know, I did porn and it was bad for me because that's not what I want to do anymore. I feel like I'm above that. That's not me anymore. But hey, you know, if you want to do that, that's on you. It's all good. You know, I'm not gonna knock you. Get your money, sis. That's not good enough. That is absolutely not good enough to just say that, I poisoned myself and I don't like the way that things turned out. But if you want to poison yourself and you like that, then you just go right on ahead. And it's like we need to actually stand up and talk about how, yeah, this is bad. And it's not just bad for me, it's bad for everybody. It's bad for the women who are making it, the men who are consuming it, and the society that has to deal with the fallout of it. Because what is this doing? It's not only making these women devalue themselves, making them suicidal, making them feel like garbage, and making these men lazy and apathetic and unserious. But due to stuff like that, it breaks up families. The parents of these OnlyFans girls, a lot of times they don't want to talk to them anymore. They don't want to be seen with them. Their siblings don't want to be around them. They're outsiders and the black sheep of their families. Marriages are broken up because, the spouse will find out that the other one is watching porn, spending money on porn that they're not supposed to. All types of stuff. it's just it's an all-encompassing problem, and it's sad. And it's not only just the fact that it's something that just continues to happen, but it's just happening right in the face of our government, who is supposed to be the one like laying down the law and bringing down legislation that's supposed to help people, and they're not doing it. They're just completely dropping the ball. And so, let me pull up for you guys the story of Rahab the harlot. She was one of the women that I was thinking of when it comes to prostitutes in the Bible. Let's see here. Joshua chapter 2. Because the women I was thinking of are Rahab, the woman at the well who had like 5 husbands, and Mary Magdalene. But if you guys can think of any others, then please let me know in the chat down below. All right. All right. Hold on, y'all. Technical difficulties. Okay. Here we go. Okay, Joshua chapter 2. I'll pull it up on my phone. My computer's being slow. I don't think it likes me when I live stream. I think it uses up a lot of power. Okay. Yeah, I can pretty much just read all of Joshua chapter 2. Because this is not doing what I want it to do. Okay. All right, let's see that. Can y'all still hear me? Can y'all still hear me? Hold on. How my camera go off? Hold on, y'all. You can't see it. Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know what happened to my. I don't know what happened to my camera. Oh, but you can still hear me. Okay, so once again, I don't know, my laptop, it doesn't want me to be great. And so it's almost over, but just to wrap up, I'm going to read Joshua chapter 2, which is the story of Rahab the harlot and how she is used by the Lord in a great way, even though she, was a prostitute. And so it says, and Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into an harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, behold, there came men in hither tonight to the children of Israel, of the children of Israel, to search out the country. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, bring forth the men that came to thee, which are entered into thine house, for they be come to search out all of the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, there came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whither the men went I wot not. Pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords, and as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof, and she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you, when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man, because of you, for the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that ye will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token. And they will save, and that ye will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters, and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answer her, our life for yours, if ye utter not this our business. And it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, get you to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers are returned, and afterwards may ye go your way. And the men said unto her, we will be blameless of this thine oath which thou hast made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window, which thou didst let us down by, and thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother and thy brethren and all thy father's household home unto thee. And it shall be that whosoever shall go out of the doors of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will not be guiltless. And we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand be upon him. And if thou utter this our business, then will we be quit of thine oath which thou hast made us to swear. And she said, according to your words, so be it. And she sent them away. And they departed, and she bound the scarlet line in the window. And they went and came unto the mountain, and abode there 3 days, until the pursuers were returned. And the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. So the 2 men returned and descended from the mountain, and passed over, and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and told him all the things that befell them. And they said unto Joshua, truly the Lord hath delivered into our hands all the land, for even all the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us. And so that is just such a beautiful story about how God can use anybody, anybody who's willing. And she, being a harlot, she was not too far gone in the eyes of God to be of use to him and to be of service to him. And, I'm sure that she is mentioned in the Bible and that she probably got saved. And what a blessing. And also another thing about that story is that it's not a coincidence that they're let down and that they're saved by a scarlet rope. Scarlet is red, and we are saved by Jesus's red blood. That's, symbolism from the Old Testament. There's a lot of symbolism in the Old Testament because the Old Testament as a whole is pretty much a picture or a physical representation of spiritual things that are later to come. But that's besides the point. Just that, God can use a harlot, God can use an idiot, God could use a murderer like King David. And, we just have to be willing vessels for God's kingdom and for what he wants. And, don't be like some stuck-up Muslim who thinks that you're so much better and that you are, a good person because you haven't done X, Y, Z, when all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And so, can God save hoes? Yes, he can. And he has in the past, and he can today in Jesus' name. And so I hope that you guys had a really great week. I hope that your weekend is not going to be quite as busy as mine. Speaking of busy, tomorrow night I am debuting a brand new show on Black Man Unfiltered Network called Candid Conversations with a Housewife. And that is where I'll be talking about things more related to more encompassing of family life and marriage, and not, this channel is we're going to talk about anything and everything, just in the lens of Christianity. But that is going to be specifically family life. So I'm not going to do any more family life topics here. I'm going to save those for over there. So I'll send the link down so you guys can go over there and check that out tomorrow night, same time as here at 9. This is normally going to be at 8, but that is going to be at 9. Friday nights, 8 o'clock here. Saturday nights, 9 o'clock over there, Eastern Standard Time. And yes, so you guys have a really great night, and I look forward to talking to you again next week.